Welcome, Cowboy fans, Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G. I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Let's talk facts. A lot of things going on with the Cowboys, and I say a lot of things. But I say this week is a big week for the Dallas Cowboys. And this is why, once again, I have my evaluation hat on. What's going on, Daryl? What's going on, Plaint? Play MKR, what's going on? Janie, what's going on? Troy, what's going on? This is a very big week for the Cowboys. Because I'm one of these people, I'll just be honest with you, like I said before, I was never buying into this delusional playoff run. But I do think this is a huge week as it pertains to how do the Cowboys bounce back? How do the Cowboys bounce back? You know, I always say it's not getting knocked down that's the problem. It's not making mistakes that's the problem. It's what do you do after the mistake? It's what do you do after you get knocked down? And so for the Cowboys, it's about what do they do? What do they do? What do they do? They've been knocked down. They've literally been knocked down. It's time to get up. Do you play as hard now that you know that? And I don't understand. Do you play as hard now knowing the playoffs are out of the picture, which I think they were already out of the picture? But do you still play hard? Do you dedicate the remainder of the season to Demarion Overshown? Because I'm telling you, in case y'all didn't know, this is not beer or anything. You ever heard of S. Pellegrino mineral waters? Man. Of course, I don't drink, but man, I love these carbonated S. Pellegrinos mineral waters. It's really good. But I am telling you, man, just kind of looking over the Dallas Cowboys injury report and things like that, this is going to be a very, very tough week for the Cowboys. The Carolina Panthers could literally beat the Dallas Cowboys when you look at the injury report. When you look at the injury report, let's look at the Cowboys injury report as we get going. This injury report is crazy work. Cowboys on their injury report this week. Cooper Beebe, and I don't know, it says week 15. I'm assuming this is this week. It says week 15. This is this week. Cooper Beebe, no practice. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Let me make sure. Because, man, this injury report looks so bad. I'm actually questioning if this is the actual injury report. This thing is bad. Because we are in week 15, right? I'm sure we're in week 15. Yeah, we're in week 15. Well, according to week 15, the Cowboys injury report is insane. It is insane. Cooper Beebe out. Eric Kendricks did not practice Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Questionable. Overshown, we know about that. Wanye Thomas out. You got Vigil. Did not practice Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Questionable. Trayvon Diggs. Light practice. Did not practice Friday. Questionable. I imagine he is pretty questionable after the job that Jamar Chase did on him. And so when you look at this, I mean, they got a lot of light practice. So it is going to be tough for the Dallas Cowboys. It's going to be tough for the Dallas Cowboys. Let's see if we can look at the Carolina Panthers. And, you know, the crazy thing is about this Carolina Panthers team that we're facing, they are a much improved team. What's going on, David J? He said, man, can we even field the team? Man, I'm going to tell y'all, and I'm sure y'all already know this. Um, People can say anything they want to about Michael Parsons. I love Michael Parsons, but Demarion Overshown is a huge blow to this defense. And I think it's one that they couldn't afford. I mean, look, Leo Fau, I think his name is. He looked pretty good, so this is an opportunity for him to show up, show what he has. But Overshown, man, missing a guy like that is different. Let's see. So we look at the Carolina Panthers. We look at their injury report. They have looks like Jadeveon Clowney. Wait a minute, this ain't no Clowney was playing for. This is actually right. Well, regardless, their injury report doesn't look nowhere like ours. It doesn't look nowhere like ours. I forgot that Clowney was playing for the Panthers. He's had a full practice the last couple of days, so says he's questionable. I bet he plays. Running back Raheem Blackshear, light practices. I bet you he plays. Trayvon Wallace, the linebacker, is out. Josie Jewell, linebacker. J.C. Horn, cornerback. They're both questionable, and it looks like so far. I mean, they just don't really have a whole lot out. They just don't have a whole lot out like we do. I forgot Jadeveon Clowney was playing for the Carolina Panthers. Wow. He's been absolutely, it seems pretty quiet. David J., can't you believe you only have 2.6? Your content is excellent. Appreciate it. Well, we're going to keep on going. We'll see how it goes here for the rest of the year. But I appreciate the compliment. I'm telling us, man, the Cowboys. And I don't know about y'all, but this is actually the stuff that I want to see. This is why I'm not viewing this season like a lot of people, because I already kind of knew what it was. And so for me, everything that's happening right now, this is just what kind of team do we have? Jerry Jones said something in his interview. He said that winning was important. Winning was important for this team. I agree. And I don't know necessarily winning is important, but I do think the effort to win is important. Because just because you don't win, don't mean you don't keep trying to win. I think the effort is important for this team. I think the effort is important. How do they bounce back? What's going on, Blue Star? Cowboys. Blue Star said the Cowboys ain't bouncing back, but the Cowboys and the Cancun. Man, hey. This is why I say Micah Parsons self-appointed himself as the leader. So, how does he rally the troops? How does he get the defense to play? What is he going to do? Because the reality is, how do you play now? How do you play now? Do you check out? Do you check out if you're the Cowboys? Because I'll tell y'all this. I don't think Mike McCarthy's out of the woodshed yet. I don't think Mike McCarthy's out of the woodshed. I know I know that it seems like he's a shoo-in, and I keep saying I don't believe he's gone until I see the press conference and him packing up his stuff and leaving. But at the same time, I don't think he's out of the woodshed yet. I mean, you're talking about 2 wins. And I was listening again to Jerry Jones. What's going on, Kevin? I was listening again to Jerry Jones and what they asked him on the fan. And they were asking him about the whole issue with the endorsement of Mike McCarthy. Let's pull that up real quick before we get into some of the stats, the nuts and the bolts of the Carolina Panthers and the Cowboys. I just thought it was strange. I just think it's kind of strange what Jerry said when they asked him, because he really didn't answer the question. He really didn't answer the question. They were asking him about, the endorsement by all the players of Mike McCarthy. And listen to Jerry Jones. His answer was very weird. And I think it's saying something. And then there's something I don't know if y'all know about that came up with Bill Belichick's contract. And we're gonna look at that in just a moment. Too. So let me cue this question up because I played it the other day, but I want to play it again. I want y'all to hear the first part of what Jerry Jones says. Let me cue it up. Hold on just a second. All right, y'all give me just one more second. All right, so let me continue to talk while I do this, but wait, here it is, I think. And let me go ahead and state it because I can't find it. But basically, the question was asked of Jerry Jones, and I thought it was a very powerful question. They asked Jerry Jones, with all of the endorsements, of Mike McCarthy, they asked Jerry Jones, well, why hadn't you signed Mike McCarthy if he's getting all these endorsements? And Jerry didn't answer the question as in, we're going to sign him or it's a possibility. Jerry said, and I quote, I'm not ready to go there yet. Jerry said, I'm not ready to go there yet. I'm not ready to go there yet. And I don't know if Jerry is trying to keep us in suspense or what. He gave it out, man. You know what? Too much for me. I'm sure they can find somebody better than me, but I appreciate it. Blue Star, Jerry knows he made the mistake praising Rush over Dak. Whoa, yes. Yes, he did. But yesterday on 105.3 The Fan, high on Dak. For all Dak haters, I know they salty. I believe Mike will be back next season. Yeah, I did a video on that, Blue Star. I talked about the fact that it was the first time. I mean, it's not the first time, but Jerry gave Dak a serious, very serious endorsement. Very serious endorsement. Let me see if I can pull that up. This is what Blue Star is bringing up. I did a video about already. This is what Jerry says.
Or from those areas that you're evaluating over the course of this last month?
Well, first of all, let me be real clear. It's obvious our quarterback for the future is Dak Prescott. So we don't have to have guesswork about who's going to be our quarterback, number one. And so
he was really high on Dak Prescott this entire interview, even going as far as to say that what Dak Prescott, his opinion of Mike McCarthy, carried some weight. Yep, said it carried some weight, Blue Star. I was like, wow. Because The talk is what Jerry was basically saying is Mike McCarthy compliments Dak Prescott. He compliments Dak Prescott. That's what he's saying. I don't know if that means that Mike is still, there's a go, but I've been saying from the beginning, I've already prepared myself that Jerry's going to bring Mike back. And one of the reasons why I think Jerry's going to bring Mike back, I did a video on it earlier. The dominoes continue to fall. Deion Sanders, what's his name? Ben Johnson, Bill Belichick to North Carolina. And if you're not going to bring in a Vrabel, Jason Witten isn't ready. You probably bring in Jason Witten as an understudy or some sort. Or he goes and works for another team, and then Jerry will probably bring him in 2 or 3 years. But Vrabel is really the last chance for Jerry if he wants change on this team. If he wants change on the team, Vrabel is the last opportunity. He really is. Vrabel is the last opportunity. But I'm going to let you hear something else that's absolutely mind-blowing. I want you to hear what he says about Bill Belichick. Because there's something that is developing about Bill Belichick. I want you to hear what Jerry says about Bill Belichick.
Are you that we're talking about the possibility of Bill Belichick coaching in college instead of the National Football League next year?
Well, Bill, rightfully so. In my time as in college, that limited time, but more importantly, the years I've spent in the NFL, I don't know that I've seen a coach available, if you will, with his stature. Yeah. He's got a lot of gas left in his tank, a lot. He's on the game. He's savvy. He knows the personnel all over the league. There's no learning curve there. And he just technically is as sure a thing, sound a thing that you're going to be coached up as you could have. It doesn't surprise me that everything there is out here that's got a coach concept associated with it that he's not being considered. Bill Belichick could run a major company very effectively, and he's just got that leadership ability as well as, in this case, no one knows more football or how to execute and use that to win a ball game than Bill Belichick.
Yeah, Jerry, I agree with you. I just don't.
Now, Jerry's saying all of this about Bill. All of a sudden, I don't know if y'all have seen, there's an article all of a sudden that it's reared its head in the New York Post. And this article is casting doubt on Bill Belichick's future at North Carolina. Bill Belichick said in his press conference, Bill Belichick said he didn't come here, he didn't go to UNC to leave. And he said that kind of with a little devious smile on his face. But the contract has leaked. And this is opening the door. If Jerry Jones still wants Bill Belichick, who obviously he holds in high regard, watch this. It says, now that Bill, let me get a headline. The contract detail that raises doubts about Bill Belichick's North Carolina future. What? Now that Bill Belichick has signed his name on the dotted line to become the 35th head coach in North Carolina football history, the Tar Heels have released the details above the line. One in particular has spurred cause for concern. Should the second winningest coach in NFL history decide to leave his post in Chapel Hill right before or after his first season, he would only incur a fine of only $1 million? What? The provision kicks in on June 1st of next year, approximately 2 months before the 2025 college football season is set to begin. What? Do y'all know what this means? I mean, I'm pretty sure y'all can tell what this means. Bill Belichick set his contract up with an escape hatch. That if there is a team that he wants to go to in the pros, he can literally go there. He can literally go there. He can make his mind up and say, you know what? I want to go to a pro team. He can do this. It says the provision kicks in June 1st, approximately 2 months before the 2025 college season, which would basically give them plenty of time to find someone else. And it says if he should leave before June 1st, it would be much more expensive, costing $10 million. But they basically put a provision in the contract for him to get out. Mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. So Bill isn't necessarily out of the running for the Cowboys job or the Bears. I don't think he wants any part of the Panthers. Or if Dayball was to get fired, Belichick is still in the running. But I also think Bill did something else. And I think Bill is kind of using the college game as leverage against any pro team that would want him. Well, North Carolina's paying him $10 million. So if a pro team wants Bill, you're going to have to pony up some money. Bill, whoever did Bill's contract, man, I need to check and see if Todd Francis is his agent. Because, man, he can still go to the pros if he wants to. And who knows? It may happen. Kevin says Michael lost as a leader with his "I got to carry the team" mindset. He acts as if it's not 10 other players besides him. Not to mention, I just don't think his play. I don't think his play on the field is good enough. And I mean that with all due respect to him as a great player. But when you register goose eggs in a game of, I can't even believe I'm saying the game of the magnitude of last week. It was not a game of magnitude, even though they turned it into that. They were 5-7 and the Bengals were 4-8. And we literally turned that like it was a battle of superpowers between two 12-4 teams or something. But I just don't think you can register goose eggs in a game like that. He said, what quarterback number one? That says a lot. Jerry has not given up on him, and he should not, because Jerry didn't give Dak no help this whole season why he's re-injured again. And this is why I think, Blue Star, Jerry is about to do something that we never thought he would do. When Jerry Jones is saying something nice, people need to be cautious and alert. Jerry will never hire someone he can't control. Me as a Cowboys fan, born in 95, did not witness the 5 rings they won, so I can care less. Right, but in my era, do you think I will live to even see at least one? I'll be happy. Oh, yeah. I'm telling you, I believe 2026 is the chip year for the Cowboys. 2026 will be the season. I got the feeling 2026 is the season. What's up, No Cap? Man, that thing with Devontae Campbell is crazy. He really got in his feelings bad. He got in his feelings bad, man. Quentin Ewers is rumored to come back to college and join the Bill at North Carolina. Oh, yeah, join Bill at North Carolina. Dank said Jerry is cheap. Bill is retaining last year's. What's going on, Gregory? What's going on? Gregory, see, me and you think alike. Leaders don't nominate themselves. They don't. They are illuminated by their work ethic, their morality, their responses, all of those things. And, this is, like I said, this is a big week. I mean, what do they do? What do they do after this? Dank said not 2026. He says 2056. Well, if that's the case, unless they come out with some pill, at least for me to live along, past 100, I won't see it again. But I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to get the chip in 2026 because I think the draft that the Cowboys are going to have this year is going to be a huge impact, not only for the 25 season. I think the draft they're going to have this year is going to be huge for 2026 because I think the Cowboys are going to hit on the 2026 draft because finally the Cowboys will be drafting higher up. Might crack that top 10. Well, Cap, it's funny, man. It's funny that San Francisco, man, no run this year, bro. No run this year. And those doggone Rams, and this is one of the reasons why I pointed this out earlier about the Cowboys. I kind of figured one of the reasons why I thought the Cowboys didn't have a chance is because people were counting out the Rams. And the Rams have did exactly what I feared. Sean McVay has figured out a way to get that team in gear. And they're really coming on towards the end. Commanders beware. See, now the Commanders can't slip. The Commanders cannot slip. And so the Rams will move up into that spot. And that's why I said, people were talking about the Cowboys. There was absolutely, when you look at the playoff maker, I don't understand what people were looking at. There was literally no chance for the Cowboys to make the playoffs. There was no chance. There was never a chance. Never. There was never a chance. Too many things had to happen for the Cowboys. Too many things had to happen. They're already down to number 13, but the Rams threw a monkey wrench in. The Rams threw a monkey wrench in a lot of folks' plans. I mean, they're 2 up on the Falcons, 2 up on the Panthers, 2 up on the Saints. I mean, it's over below that. It is over below that. It's either the Rams and the Commanders or no one else. It's the Rams and the Commanders. It's pretty much set. Everything I think is pretty much set the way it's going to be. The only thing I think that will change will be the number 7 seed. I think that's the only thing that changes. Looking at the NFC South, I was kind of glancing at the NFC South. Let's see the Falcons. Yeah, I think, and the Falcons are on a downward spiral. The Saints, there's no chance. The Panthers, there's no chance. So for the most part, the Buccaneers, they got that number 4 seed wrapped up. I don't think they may not beat the Chargers this week, but they'll be playing the Cowboys next week. And I think they're going to beat the Cowboys this next week. So the playoffs is solidified, and the Cowboys were never getting there. So now it's down to the Rams and the Commanders. It's going to be a fight to the end. And so I just wonder, man, how are the Cowboys going to bounce back? All this talk they've been doing, how will they bounce back? Just because you're not making the playoffs, you still got to play the game. Still plenty of football to play. Blue Star said, Micah, play is very poor, but he want to be on the sideline, want to be crying walking off the field when you did not do a ding-dong thing. Game long, just 3 pressures for 0 sacks. Man, I said the same thing. And I think that may have been some of his frustration, that he was basically blanked. I think that's his frustration, even though he'll never say it. But now with Overshown gone, man, it's going to be tough treading out there. This running back class is loaded. Wow, boy. Let me tell you something. If the Cowboys don't get them a super stud running back, they don't want to. They all in this draft, man. There is no way, especially. So now you got Rico Dowdle. Rico running that ball. He running that rock. Man, you go in here and get Rico Dollar running back to go with him. Have a 1-2 punch. You can let Rico be the one this year. The rookie be the number 2. Making sure, though, he gets about 12 to 15 carries. I really think this team would help itself if it really flipped like the 90s Cowboys with Troy. I think it would be better if they flip this team, flip it into a 30 carry per game team. They really need to flip this team because Dak is not mobile as he was. He still got his mind, still got his arm. So you need to do what you need to do. He's a play-action quarterback. So you get him what the Detroit Lions have. You get him 2 running backs. Check. Go in the draft. I actually say, I know a lot of people want Genty. And it ain't going to hurt my feelings if they get Genty. But I think you could actually trade that pick if there's someone else who wants Genty. And you could go ahead and get a wide receiver in that first round. And then in the second round, you could get your running back. Gain another pick, whether it be this draft or the next. And then continue to build the team. Jared said more Dak Prescott lies. Some Cowboys content creators saying that Dak Prescott plays like, well, I don't think it's true what they're saying, but I think it's not Dak. I think this team, and I think this is what Jerry is going to have to really make his mind up on when it comes to Mike McCarthy. This team has played extremely well in big games. Dak has played good or even extremely well in big games, but it's always a play. It's always a play or two. It's always a penalty. It's like when they get to those big moments, it's not just Dak. It's like the team. This is where I'm kind of with Mike McCarthy because it's like he can't keep his teams focused. He can't keep them focused. I mean, you think about the Amani number 27 thing. They're blaming Amani on that punt thing. But to me, it's indicative of who they've been since Mike's been here. It's like they, at just like very inopportune moments, they lose focus. The Washington Commanders game, what happened? 86-yard touchdown? I mean, it's like they lose focus. He can't keep them focused for long periods or for an entire game. Wild Boy says even if you miss Genty, you get quality starting running back. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. And I'm telling you, if I get more draft picks, I'm going to do it. But I also think the Cowboys need to bring in some veteran leadership. They need to get some veteran leadership. They do. They need to get some veteran leadership beside Micah Parsons. I was watching a video with Ray Lewis, and he was talking about one of the things that helped him out early on in his career is that they had a veteran at Baltimore that really showed him how to win the game, showed him how to win, as in, he asked him, what do I need to do to be great or something to that effect, and he told him to be there early for the film room the next day and just gave him all kinds of pointers. And so I think they need some veteran leadership on this team too. Yeah, Dank, I think they need to trade back. With all the losses in free agency, I'm with you. I think they need to trade back. Let's hope they don't sabotage the team for next season. Steven, keep talking rebuilding like we're slow. Steven, you know what? I'm not believing Stephen Jones just yet. Because anybody that's been looking at the cap and all of this stuff is readily available on the internet, Stephen Jones knows doggone well he's a liar. The Cowboys can easily have $100+ million next season. I think they're going to make some moves, and they're going to get that $100 million. Now, what they do with it, we'll see. No Cap says, I think the 49ers are going to be bad next year, and we will draft Archie Manning in 2026. Well, I'll tell you something even crazier, No Cap. I'm starting to hear more and more about this thing about getting rid of Kyle Shanahan. That'll be the worst thing they can do. Jared says, I'm going to lose my mind if one more person says Dak chokes in big games. It's fallacy. Well, the thing is, Jared, we got to ask ourselves, So there's only 2 teams to get to the Super Bowl. All of them, and I don't necessarily call it choke. They all get beat in big games. All of them. Josh Allen, they're trying to get him to be the MVP this year. And his play has been really good, especially with the lack of turnovers. I've already did it. I've already did the math on him. 1 AFC championship game. 1. And it wasn't until Stephon Diggs came to the team that he really turned it around. Lamar Jackson. I mean, you can just go down the line. Jalen Hurts, all of them. They all get to certain games. And what we have to understand is, since football is the ultimate team game, what happens is not the quarterbacks are failing per se. The teams are better. I mean, the Cowboys, to me, have gotten beaten by better teams. Dak's rookie season, prime Aaron Rodgers. Now, the one game against the 49ers, it was the first playoff game. I do put some blame, a lot of blame on Dak for that one, as I said before. But the second one, everything flipped when Tony Pollard broke his leg. And without a run game, there was no way the Cowboys were beating San Francisco. The Rams that year, Dak actually played better than everybody on the team. I mean, they just basically blanked Zeke. The Cowboys have had letdowns. They've had a lot of letdowns in this thing. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, and that's why I'm wondering, like, what is Jerry going to do? Because I think he needs change on this team. Yeah, Keedy boy, I think he finally started to realize. I think after watching Cooper Rush's performance, he started backing way off this Cooper Rush nonsense. That game was trash last night. I'm glad I did not watch it. It's all BS aside. Feel bad for those Niners fans. My neighbors didn't even yell for nothing last night. Yeah, it was. And I really think what messed the game up. No cap, you tell me what you think. I think what messed the game up last night was the weather. I think the weather, I mean, it did a number on really both teams, but the weather really made it to where the game, they really couldn't get no offense going until about the second quarter. No Cap says the Rams are too inconsistent, man. Commanders need 3 losses out of 4, and Rams need to win out, including beating the Seahawks. The Commanders, the thing about them, they have a guaranteed road to 10 wins. And so the Rams, the magic number for them is going to be 10 wins. I haven't looked at the playoff. I hadn't looked at the tiebreaker between those two teams, but the Commanders have a sheer advantage. They really do. All they have to do is win 2 games. 2 games and they're in. And they may actually win 3 of the last 4, especially with the way the Cowboys are playing right now. Because I just don't know if the Cowboys are going to get up. I just don't think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to give up. I don't think they're going to get up. Real Fan 1 has given, and I don't, but let me preface what you're saying, Real Fan. You're saying he's had plenty of help. But you're not saying the teams he played on were better. And this is the cruel reality that people don't like to come to. There is a cruel reality to football. Y'all do know that, right? There's a cruel reality. The cruel reality is that even when a quarterback has help, if the opposing team has a better team, doesn't matter what kind of help he has, he's going to get beat. And it's not him that's going to get beat. The team is going to get beat. And there is no better example of this. And I shouldn't say there's no better example, but the example that comes together for me, that comes together for me, it was the 94 Cowboys. It was the 94 Cowboys. The 94 Cowboys. They got beat in the conference championship game against the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I want to help you. I want to help you, real fan, because, see, we talk a lot of this stuff about Dak's had help. We're not even going to go into the fact that no one has ever had more help than Troy Aikman, to me, as a Dallas Cowboy quarterback. But if you just go to the 94 team, so you're telling me Troy Aikman didn't have help? Or you telling me that Troy Aikman didn't have help? Troy Aikman had Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, Alvin Harper, Jay Novacek, Daryl Johnston. People would kill for that right there. Dak has not played with any players that are better than this. What running back has Dak played with better than Emmitt Smith? What wide receiver has he played with better than Michael Irvin? Even as a number 2 receiver, I would put Alvin Harper just on his big play ability. I'll put him up against Amari Cooper all day long. Tell me the tight end that was better than Jay Novacek, because I'm not giving you Jason Witten better than Jay Novacek. They had a fullback. Tell me the fullback that Dak has played with is better. A lot of folks don't remember this guy named Kevin Williams. He was a return specialist, man. He was really, really good. Really, really good. And so when you're just looking at the skill positions, so real fan one, you telling me that Troy Aikman didn't have help? Because I know you can't tell me that. We're not even counting their offensive line. You can't tell me that Troy Aikman in 94 didn't have help. Because he did. So why did he fail? He didn't fail. Do you realize the San Francisco 49ers were better? The San Francisco 49ers, see, y'all, this is the cruel reality of sports. I don't care who you have on your team. I don't care how much help your team has. But if the other team is better than you, so what do you do? Help me out. What do you do if the other team is better than you? You get beat. End story, you get beat. This is what the 49ers were working with. I know this is probably will hurt some people's feelings. Steve Young, when I look overall, Steve Young was better than Troy Aikman. I know that may hurt some people's feelings. Steve Young was better than Troy Aikman. And what I mean by that is by total athletic ability. When we're talking about throwing, accuracy, and the extra added ability of running the ball, Steve Young was an absolute beast. He was an absolute beast. He was a monster. He was. This dude had 35 passing touchdowns and 7 running touchdowns. This man had 42 touchdowns. Steve Young was a beast. He had Ricky Waters. Anybody don't remember Ricky Waters? Boy, you don't know what you missed. Ricky Waters was a monster. William Floyd was a monster. Literally, people can argue all they want to, but to me, Jerry Rice is the greatest receiver ever to play this game. Jerry Rice is the greatest receiver to ever play this game. He had John Taylor on the other side. He had Brent Jones. You think about this. Let me move you to something else. Real fan one, tell me the cornerback that Dak Prescott has ever played with that's better than Deion Sanders, who actually played on offense, punt returns. This 94 team, you know why they beat the 94 Cowboys, who were absolutely loaded? Because they were better than them. Period. It's not just about Dak Prescott having help. That's the dumb part of the argument that people make. That's the dumb part of the argument. So next you have to look at the competition. Well, who is he playing against? What does the team look like that your team is playing against? I don't care who your quarterback is. Is the team you're playing against better? Are they better than you? And when you look at the Super Bowl losses that who I consider to be the GOAT, Thomas Edward Brady. You know why he lost 3 Super Bowls? He lost to a better team, not a better quarterback. He didn't lose to a better quarterback. He lost to a better team. And some people will tell you that Troy Aikman was better than Steve Young. I won't argue with you. That's your opinion. I don't think the tape shows it. But if that's your opinion, and the stats definitely don't show it, if that's your opinion, that's fine. But in 94, the 49ers were better than the Cowboys. They were. They were better than the Cowboys. And when you think about what Dak has had on the team, folk always pointing to the players, but those are the type of people who love the headlines, who buy into the narratives. They don't dig into the games, the personnel, and understand, okay, so you got these players, I got these players. Which one of us has the better team? I can destroy this argument all day long. So anybody on here would dare tell me that when the Philadelphia Eagles beat Tom Brady and the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl, I bet you can't find me a person that'll tell you that Nick Foles is better than Tom Brady. But the Philadelphia Eagles had a better team. So that's why when I hear all this crazy, Dak has had help. I don't care what help he's had. Was his help better than the other team's help? And I'm going to tell you. Y'all tell me. Y'all name me one team that Dak Prescott has played on. Y'all name me one team that Dak Prescott has played on. That team, when you looked at it, you said, it's better than the Super Bowl team of that year in the NFC. Tell me what team it was. Tell me the team. See, people be talking emotions, but I'm just talking facts. I already know what I'm talking about. Because when you look at it, it's obvious. Name the team. Name the Super Bowl team. Name the team that you said or you thought the Dallas Cowboys were literally better than. What was that team? I'm waiting on that team because I can tell you this. When you look at the 2017 season, the Green Bay Packers were better than the Dallas Cowboys. They were better than the Dallas Cowboys. They were. And as a huge Dak Prescott fan, there is no way I'm putting Dak Prescott, as great as he played, I'm not putting Dak Prescott on the same level of Aaron Rodgers in his rookie season. And it wasn't Aaron Rodgers that beat Dak Prescott. Aaron Rodgers beat the Dallas Cowboys defense with some of the most amazing play you'll ever see in a 2-minute drive. Aaron Rodgers was an absolute monster in 2017. 2017. And that team, whether we like it or not, that Green Bay team was better than the Cowboys team. It was. Even though we may have had the better record, they were better than the Cowboys. Period. Aaron Rodgers in himself, they're better than the Cowboys. 2019, of course, they beat the Seahawks. So this is 2019, the Cowboys versus the Rams. So somebody on here will tell me, you're telling me that the 2019 Cowboys, you're going to tell me the 2019 Cowboys were better than the 2019 Rams. Because if you do, I'm going to tell you you're a liar. See, we don't understand. This is when you buy into the narratives. When you buy into the narratives, this is what happens to you. You become a prisoner of the moment. You become a prisoner of hate. And this loss, even when the Cowboys lost to the Cincinnati Bengals, just the response of so many fans, it lets me know everything I need to know about this fan base. We were literally lucky to actually be in that game with the Cincinnati Bengals because at the end of the day, the Bengals were better than us. And we can say that it was Amani number 27's fault all we want to. But the reality is they were better than us. They were. We had an opportunity to get back on defense. We didn't stop them. We had an opportunity. We got the ball back with 1:01 to go. We didn't stop them. I'm sorry. They were better than us. And I don't care if we want to admit it or not. Cincinnati Bengals were better than us. Now, I don't know about this team coming up with the Carolina Panthers. Then I'll get back to the Panthers. But we have to understand, I mean, it is what it is. When you start talking about help, I just don't think we are understanding what we're talking about. When you're talking about, and what I want to look at is, I want you to think about this. So, let me show you how crazy we are. Let me show y'all how absolutely crazy we are and we don't think. So somebody going to tell me that the 2019 Rams were not better than the Dallas Cowboys. That's what you're going to tell me. You're going to tell me with Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Todd Gurley, who was at the top of his superpowers at that time, Tyler Higbee, Brandon Cooks, prime Brandon Cooks. So somebody's going to tell me, Gerald Everett, somebody's going to tell me that we were better than this team. We were not better than this team. We were not better than the 2019 Rams. We were not. And that's the stuff that people do not talk about. I don't care. You can tell me what kind of help you give me all day long. But if the other team is better than us, I don't care what we do pretty much, unless there's turnovers and things of that nature, we're not winning. I said this about this game right here with the Bengals. Because we were living on turnovers, we were living on special teams play. And I said it before the Bengals game. There's going to come a time that quote-unquote 2-game win streak team, as we're calling it, was going to have to line up against somebody and just beat them and be better. Well, they were not better than the Bengals. They just were not. They were not. And the only game that I'm putting squarely on the shoulders of one Dak Prescott is the 2022 San Francisco game. I'm putting that game on his shoulders because Dak Prescott threw a terrible interception in that game to where they were driving to basically kind of put the game away. And he throws an interception. San Francisco drives down and scores a touchdown. The rest is history. But Dak played out of his mind in the Tampa Bay game. Came back in the San Francisco game. I'm sorry, those 49ers were better than us. Because if I'm not mistaken, in 2019, didn't the Rams go to the Super Bowl? Let me see. Yeah, the Rams went to the Super Bowl in 2019. They got beat 13-3. We didn't have a Super Bowl team. We didn't have a Super Bowl team. We didn't. The Rams were better than us. They went to the Super Bowl. And when you think about what was the other year? So Dak wins his second playoff game in 2023 in the wild card round. He gets to the divisional round in 2023. And this is again against the San Francisco 49ers. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. The honest truth is the 49ers were better than us. They were better than us. And the fact that we were even kind of in the game until that injury to Tony Pollard tells you the fact that we were kind of playing above who we were. I mean, we were doing whatever we could do to win. But when Tony Pollard broke his leg, it was over. Not to mention, Dak Prescott threw an interception. I think it was after Pollard got hurt. He throws an interception right there before the half, and that kind of kept the game close. And then after that, it was over. The 49ers pretty much buried us because, let's be honest, the 2023 San Francisco 49ers were better than the Dallas Cowboys. Because if I'm not mistaken, let me check this again, make sure who went to the Super Bowl in 2023? That was the game. Oh, as a matter of fact, this is the season the Philadelphia Eagles knocked the elbow. If I'm not mistaken, was this not the season that the Eagles hit the elbow of one Brock Purdy and basically broke it? And then the Eagles went on to the Super Bowl, of which that Eagles team was even better than us. That Eagles team was better than us. That 49ers team was better than us. And this becomes the problem that people don't understand because we buy into the narratives. And I know nobody wants to admit this. I'm sorry, but the 2024 Green Bay Packers were better than us. We were deficient at linebacker. They ran us out of the field. They ran us off the field. We only had one wide receiver. They doubled him, tripled him, and the rest was history. I know we like the Cowboys. I like the Cowboys. But we have to understand and admit, you can name me anybody you want to, but you're not naming the players on the other team that they're playing against. They're better than the Cowboys. They were, all of them, including Green Bay. The moment that game came up, me and my uncle said, bad matchup. We knew Dak was better than Jordan Love, but Green Bay had the better team. See, when you have the better team, you don't need the best quarterback. I'd rather be on the best team than be the best quarterback. I'd rather be on the best team rather than being the best running back. See, this is the ego of people. And Jerry Jones has a weird type of thought process that actually goes against everything we know. Well, if you're the highest paid quarterback, then and we're paying you this money, then you have to be able to overcome all of our shortcomings. Where they do that at? Where they do that at? Because no other team thinks like that. Dank said Rico gone after this year. Man, I hope not. There's going to be stud running backs in the 5th, 6th, and 7th round. It's crazy. Man, running backs everywhere in this draft. When everyone starts talking about Micah being the next Lawrence Taylor, he's not played like he started in the beginning. Nah, he ain't the next Lawrence Taylor. Panther pride, keep pounding. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough go. Appreciate you, Antonio. Yes, sir. Like, share, subscribe. Hit this the notification bell. It's gonna be a tough go for the Cowboys. It really is. We're about to dig into some nuts and bolts. I just took the digression for a moment. Not sure how they get him without trading up. He may be there. Yeah, wild boy, this is the thing the Cowboys have got to fix in this draft. They have got to get Dak back to play action. They have to. Because he's not going to be as mobile. He's not. Dak's not going to be as mobile as he was. He's not. We saw that this season already. So they're going to have to make up all of that with a running game. They're going to have to get him a running game. Man, I was saying the same thing, Blue Star. He should have been the starter from the beginning. And the excuse they were making was, well, he can't stay healthy. He looked fine to me this year. He looked fine to me. Should have been running him all along. Yep. Instead, they bring back Zeke because Jerry wanted to stir the pot for what looked like now Dak out. He says, why? Because they failed to run the ball. Yep. It's what happens when you try to fill a roster with rookies. Yes, that was a bad move. Dak is undefeated when we run for over 100 yards. Almost. Yep. For sure. Janie, Dak Prescott and his wife ought to be expecting a second child next year. Another little girl. Man, yeah. Dak is building that family. The real fan. So Dak played well in the 49ers playoff games. Not the first one. The first one he actually did play well, but the interception got him. You says that number 27 blunder is not fault, it's on the players. No, it's the team. I don't know where you come from, real fan, but you lose as a team. I don't care what anyone says. You don't lose. The only way a player loses the game, the only way the player, to me, loses a game, that there's some kind of walk-off interception. As in, you're driving down the field and there's 10 seconds left on the clock and the quarterback throws an interception. But even then, I even think that's saying too much. So you say number 27. You said it wasn't McCarthy's fault. Obviously, you were not on here when I broke this down the other day. So now you got to explain to me that if it's not McCarthy's fault, why was it that when the Cowboys got the ball before the Cincinnati Bengals got the ball, Rico Dowdle rips off a 14-yard run? So you got a running back that has 18 carries, 131 yards, and you stop running him. That's not your fault. Your quarterback is skipping balls off the carpet the whole night. That's not his fault. As the coach, I got to be able to say, hold on a second. Cooper Rush is a liability. So I'm going to pick and choose when he throws the ball. The Cincinnati Bengals have no answer for our run game. The Cowboys could have ended that game. Why didn't he keep running Rico Dowdle? Explain it. You say it's not the coach's fault, so now you explain. Why does he not keep running the ball? Why? Everyone's asking the same question, but no one has an answer. The Cincinnati Bengals had no answer. The Cincinnati Bengals had no answer for Rico Dowdle. None. I bet you the Cincinnati defensive coordinator laughed at the Dallas Cowboys. I bet he laughed. I bet he was actually laughing, saying, I'm glad they stopped running the ball because we couldn't stop them. We could not stop them. I bet you he laughed. I bet you he laughed. No, that's coaching. I don't know where you come from, but that's coaching. If you can't stop my run, well, I'm going to keep running. I'm going to run until you stop me. And the one thing I'm not going to do is let Cooper Rush, who can't throw past 10 yards, I'm not putting the ball or my team or the game in the hands of Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush went 3 incomplete passes. That's not coaching. I'll let you tell it. But that's coaching. Because the reason why this is the ultimate team sport, because if you think about it, there are always pivotal plays in the game. Always. Some more costly than others. But at the end of the day, a game rarely comes down to one play. The Hall of Fame coaches will tell you this. Rarely comes down to one play. You go back, you look at the tape, and you realize stuff. It wasn't that one play. Because again, you said it was number 27. It's number 27. So Cooper Rush's red zone interception has no bearing on the game. I mean, there are plays everywhere. Joe Burrow throws an interception to one of our safeties, and there's nobody back there. There's nobody back there. There's plays all over the place. There's always plays you can point to. But at the end of the day, teams lose games, not players. Can an argument be made that Dak Prescott is one of the best quarterbacks in our franchise history? I can tell you this. He's going to own every stat record. Every last one of them, he's going to own them. Yep, he's going to own them. And if he gets a chip, now, if he gets a chip, of course, he's not going to surpass the 3 Super Bowls. 3 by Aikman, 3 by Aikman, and 2 by Roger the Dodger. You know, you won't surpass that type of stuff. But if Dak gets the chip, and then when people go back and look at all of his accomplishments, his numbers and stuff like that, they're all going to say that Dak actually was one of the best quarterbacks in Cowboys history. But the problem is, what's going on, Jameson? The problem is this, Jared. But you can't say that Dak Prescott has played on one of the best teams. And that's what people like the real fan don't get. Dak has never played on one of the best teams the Cowboys has ever had. He says Staubach, Aikman, and Romo were better. No, I'm not giving you that. One, you can't tell me that Romo was better than Dak, and Dak retired Romo. Number 2, I believe Dak Prescott and Tony Romo both eats on those teams that Troy Aikman played on, and I believe they probably have, if not 1 or 2 Super Bowls. I think Dak Prescott in particular, because of how he was early on with his mobility, I think Dak Prescott still probably gets 3 of those, because other quarterbacks could have got 3 of those with that team. That was a literal super team, and I don't put anybody above Roger. Wild boy, I would even draft a quarterback in the later rounds. I'm waiting to do the quarterback. I'm doing the quarterback in 2027, unless something happens in 2026 that makes me do it. Only team that should draft Genty is a team that can afford to draft for pleasure, not needs that the Dallas has. Especially, no cap, when you can still get a very good running back and probably gain some draft capital. If I'm the Cowboys, if I get in the top 10, I'm going back. Jared says, I love Josh Allen as a player, same with Lamar Jackson, but they do at times come up short as well. They all do. They all do, because there's only one Super Bowl winner. And typically what happens in the Super Bowl, and this is what fanatical fans don't understand, do we not understand that it's typically the best teams that get to the Super Bowl? Teams. The best teams get to the Super Bowl. Or who's ever playing best as a team, they get to the Super Bowl. They get to the Super Bowl. But a lot of people don't realize something, though. That Philadelphia Eagle team that beat with Nick Foles, that was a super team. That team was built for Carson Wentz. That was a super team. It really was. They were better than the Patriots. No matter how you slice it, they were better than the Patriots. And Tom Brady had a career game against them. Still didn't beat them because they had a better team. They didn't have a better quarterback. They had the better team. And if you look back through the Super Bowl history, it is the best teams that typically win the Super Bowl. The quarterback might not even be that good on those teams. I mean, you think about, what was it, the 85 Bears? While a lot of people, Jim McMahon, he was a good quarterback. No one's going to tell you Jim McMahon was like a world beater quarterback, best quarterback they'd ever seen in 10 or 15 years other than Jason Whitlock. But the defense he had. The team, Walter Payton, the team, they were better. Teams matter. I'm taking teams all day long. And even when you think about Troy Aikman and Roger the Dodger, man, they had teams, man. Roger Staubach had teams. He really did. He had teams. This is the study that people don't do. See, I'm old enough to remember all this stuff. They had better teams. And I would dare say Troy Aikman had the best team of any of the quarterbacks that have played for the Cowboys. Troy Aikman had the best team, hands down. Hands down, best team, best line. Romo better than Dak. I'll give it to Dak, but I like Tony. Yeah, I like Tony too, Kevin, but he wasn't better than Dak. No, he wasn't better than Dak. Troy Dudley said, what is the Cowboys playing the big game? Well, anytime you're talking about playoffs, they consider those big games. But they have played in big games. You think about last year, they played in quote-unquote big games. The Miami game was a big game. The Buffalo Bills was a big game because those games could have solidified the home field advantage for you. So those are kind of these big games. The playoffs, those are big games. But the problem is, no matter how you slice it, and this is the simplicity of the matter. I mean, I'm sorry, man. This is sports. This isn't football. This is sports in general. The best team is typically going to win. The best team is typically going to win. I mean, Michael Jordan is my favorite basketball player of all time. But Michael Jordan will tell you there's no Michael Jordan without Scottie Pippen. Michael Jordan had some good pieces. Good team. Great coach, Phil Jackson. Michael Jordan had some, and the thing about Jordan was, even though he could take over games, Jordan also had a knack that when the time came, he knew how to utilize his players. He knew how to utilize those players, like Steve Kerr. He knew how to utilize those players. And so I know everyone talks about the Bulls, and now we talk about is Jordan. But at the end of the day, they had a good team. They did. They had a good team. They had a great coach, great player, but they had a good team. Jay Recruiter says, I blame 14 penalties in the first playoff game against the 49ers. Ooh, okay, you digging in. All the 49ers beat them in the trenches. I don't blame Dak. Yeah. And like I said, I just think the teams they played against, they've been better than them. They have. Kevin Edwards, Dak Prescott is better. Same. I believe. Yeah, man, I was a big Romo fan, but I remember when they called Tony Romo, Tony Ono. Called him Tony No. He was always making them crazy plays. Dak never had the same center more than 2 seasons in a row. Another great point, Kevin Edwards. Dak will be MVP next season. Ooh, boy, that'd be big. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if we get comeback player of the year for sure. Cowboys have been beating the trenches in all playoff games with Dak, but for the Green Bay game in 2016, yeah, man, that just took a Herculean effort, and I'm just giving Aaron Rodgers all the credit for that. Aaron Rodgers was crazy during those years. Dak's rookie year, his number one was Cole Beasley. Digging in, his number one was Dez. Yeah, Dez was his number one, I think, but it was Cole was his number 2, right? But let's get to some of this, more of this Carolina Panther game. Carolina Panthers against the Cowboys. It's going to be a very interesting game for the Dallas Cowboys. Very interesting game for the Dallas Cowboys. Because we're on, it seems to be, a downward spiral. And even though the Cincinnati Bengals, they look pretty bad in a lot of these categories, they've actually been playing pretty good. They've actually been playing pretty good the last four weeks. And so the Cowboys, when you think about them, let's look at Carolina's offense real quick first. When you look at Carolina's offense, they're only scoring like 18 points a game, 294 yards a game, 5 yards a play, 35% third down conversion, 15. They're number 15 in red zone conversion. They're number 28 in touchdowns. So the Dallas Cowboys, I'm worried about the fact that Overshown isn't there. But we don't even realize it. Even with as good as our defense, I think our defense has been playing pretty good. When you look at our defense, though, it's still not, it's still not all that great. We're allowing 28 points a game, 365 yards a game. That's number 31 and number 26. Yards per play, 5.9. We're number 29. Third down conversion percent, we're number 5, so we do pretty decent there. Fourth downs, we're number 23. Red zone scoring. When folks get in the red zone, y'all, they score on us. We're last. We are last. And opponents typically score about 21 points on us. This is a big deal. This is a very, very big deal. And so the Carolina Panthers and the Cowboys are going to be pretty equally matched. We scored 21 points a game, roughly 323 yards a game. Yards per play is 5 for us. Third down, 35. Red zone scoring, we're terrible, 44.44. And we average, with Cooper Rush, 2 touchdowns a game. This is going to be a very tough game for the Cowboys. Somebody was talking about, let me look this. Somebody was saying that the weather looks pretty bad. Let me see. Weather, Carolina Panthers. Let's see. All right, it shouldn't. It shouldn't be too bad. But they are saying that it's going to be around 49 degrees, so it's going to be cold. And they're saying there's a 27% chance of rain. A 27% chance of rain. So that may have some outcome. If it rains, we saw what it looked like with the 49ers last night. If it rains and you got Cooper Rush at the quarterback position, it's going to be tough. I think another issue we're going to have, especially without Demarion Overshown, I think another issue we're going to have is the fact that Bryce Young can run the ball. So we're going to have to be very astute as it pertains to that. Very astute as it pertains to that. So this game, man, it's going to be a tough game. But I can tell you where the Cowboys can win the game. And the Cowboys, only reason why their rushing stats are terrible is because of what they did in the first part of the season. The Cowboys right now, they're running run plays, and this is the part I don't understand. Mike McCarthy is only running the ball 36% of the time. With the way Rico Dowdle is running, Rico Dowdle needs to be running 35 times. I keep saying this. He needs to be running 25 to 35 times. And if you're not going to run him 35, you run him 25. And you let Zeke or Deuce Vaughn, I don't think they're going to use him. I'd like to see Dalvin Cook moved up. I don't guess they're going to move him up. But they have got to keep running the ball. They're only getting 91 yards a game. The Cowboys could easily be running for 110, 120 yards a game. The problem is that Mike McCarthy still gets pass happy. When you go back and start looking at that game in a vacuum with Cincinnati, a lot of that game is Mike McCarthy's fault because he refused to run the ball. He refused to run the ball. That's on him. How are you throwing the ball 65% of the time? How do you be ranked number 4 as in pass play percentage, but you're number 25 in completion percentage? That's Cooper Rush. You're only getting 6.3 yards per pass. And some of that is Dak Prescott because Cooper Rush is not even doing that. How are you throwing 39 passes per game, number 2? 231, you're number 10 in pass yards. Interception throws, you're number 18. Quarterback sack, you're number 13. Why would you be dropping back to pass that much with Cooper Rush when it is blatantly obvious, and I've been saying this even before now, it is blatantly obvious that the Cowboys actually have a good running game. They have a good running game. The Cowboys should be running all over teams. They should be running all over teams with Rico Dowdle. And for whatever reason, Mike McCarthy, and this is one of the problems I have with Mike McCarthy, he refuses to run the ball. Even when it's working, he won't run the ball. And that don't make sense to me. Why will you not run the ball when it's working? It's working. 100% it's working. They just won't do it. We kind of get down here. Lone Star said was sad. Dak didn't have great stats, but first time in a long time played not scared against the Steelers. Yeah. Unless Mike lost the game on purpose. We were better than Green Bay last year. No, we were not. We were not better than them, Lone Star. It was a bad matchup. And the reason why we were not better than them is because we do not understand. We went into that Green Bay game. We were not ready for the playoffs. We only had one wide receiver. I just don't know who you're beating in the playoffs with one wide receiver. The defense, Dan Quinn. And I think Dan Quinn, is questionable, but Stephon Gilmore, I'm just telling you what he said. Dan Quinn threw that game. And I think that Dan Quinn was upset with Jerry Jones because Jerry Jones made Dan Quinn go into that playoff game with no linebackers. Jordan Love said it on a podcast. He said the moment we saw y'all were playing safeties and linebackers, he said it was a wrap. It was a wrap. They were better than the Cowboys. They were better than the Cowboys. And it's true. They had a better team. They didn't have the better quarterback. They had the better running backs. They didn't have the better running back per se, but they had the better running backs. I mean, go down the depth chart on Green Bay. We were literally delusional. We thought we were going to just walk up in that game and run past Green Bay. No, we're not running past Green Bay. They were better than us. They had a two-headed monster at running back. There are two things that travel well in the playoffs: defense and run games. That's what gets you to Super Bowls. Defenses and running games. We couldn't run the ball effectively. I mean, people do not understand. I'm not an expert at football. I knew how to beat the Cowboys last year. The Cowboys could not have beaten my team last year if I was the coach of the Green Bay Packers. They were simple to beat. You got a wide receiver for 1,700 plus yards. All the other wide receivers, they drop off a cliff. They got a 5'6" wide receiver in Brandon Cooks. He's their second best wide receiver. No problem. That's no problem. No problem. The key to our offense was stopping CeeDee Lamb. You stop CeeDee Lamb, you stop Dak Prescott. Because he was really Dak Prescott's only alternative. Because they blanketed everyone else. They were better than us. Their record wasn't, but anybody who watched the Green Bay Packers down the stretch, I was watching them and I was like, uh-oh. This is a bad matchup for the Cowboys. They have a better team. They had better. They didn't have the best wide receiver. They had better wide receivers. See, this is the language we don't understand. We let Jerry Jones blind us with science. Because we'll have the best at a position. We think that automatically equals wins because we got the best at a position or an all-pro at a position. That does not guarantee wins. Because a lot of those Super Bowl teams, they don't be sending 9 and 10 all-pros, but they're better teams. See, better teams spread the wealth. That's basically what they do. They spread the wealth. So you're not getting some of these crazy numbers. I mean, who didn't think it was crazy last year, the production that CeeDee Lamb had? I thought it was crazy. Because to me, I'd already thought about it. I said, man, if I was playing the Dallas Cowboys, I'd shut down CeeDee Lamb. Has anybody not noticed that's basically the game plan that everyone has followed since the Green Bay game? Stop CeeDee Lamb. Who does the Cowboys have, even right now? Who does the Cowboys have other than CeeDee Lamb? We're never going to know what anybody is until Cooper Rush is no longer the quarterback. But you think about it. The Packers were better than us. And I know that's hard for us to admit. They were. They were. How many running backs would you rather have? One or two? How many? How many would you rather have? Would you rather have one running back coming off a broken leg, or would you rather have two running backs against a defense that has no linebackers? How are we better than them? Explain it. How are we better? And when you think about the Cowboys' defensive ranking last year, it was very top-loaded. They did a lot of that stuff at the beginning of the season. End of the season, they tapered off. They tapered off during the end of the season. See, when you stack up a lot of stats at the beginning, you ride those stats all the way to the end. Anybody that could tell how the Cowboys were playing down the stretch, there's no way you could tell me you were confident. Now, me, I was thinking, if we could get past Green Bay, but I knew Green Bay was a bad matchup. Not only was Green Bay better than us, and if we're not admitting this, the tape and the stats, it all shows. And I know we don't like it because we want to just go off of because we're better, because we got this, because we got CD, because we got Michael, because we got DeRon Bland. I know how we thinking. I'm sorry they were better than us. Because if they were not better than us, we wouldn't have lost. If they were not better than us, our defense could have stopped them. And Dak would have got us back in the game. But we couldn't stop them. They were better than us. And that's I mean, I don't understand as fans sometimes why we can't admit this type of stuff. Green Bay was better than us. I don't care if they were a wild card or not. Tom Brady has been beat by two wild card teams. And both of those teams, Tom Brady was the better quarterback. But those two teams with the Giants, they had a better team. In particular, on defense. In particular, on defense. And that's why I laugh, when we think about the Green Bay game, how do you not tell me that they were better than us? How do you tell me they were not better than us? When you look at past the quarterback, we know Jordan Love wasn't better. But when you look at Aaron Jones, who do we have better than Aaron Jones? Tony Pollard was coming off a broken leg. I mean, they were just better than us. They were better than us. If you look at their receiving core was better than ours. They don't have a receiver on this team that's better than CeeDee Lamb. The quarterback wasn't better than Dak Prescott. The wide receiver, they don't have a receiver better than CeeDee Lamb. But who you taking? Green Bay receiving core or the Cowboys? Because I'm taking Green Bay. I'm taking Green Bay all day long. They were better. They were better than us. The stats showed it and the score showed it. They were better than us. This is our run game. 15 for 56. He was coming off a broken leg. He just wasn't the same. Rico Dowdle was hurt last year, kind of. I don't really know exactly what was going on with him, but they were better than us. I forgot about Michael Gallup. But even some of this was in that time when they really had a huge lead, and then they started playing back on us, and that's when Dak amassed all these yards. But before then, when they put the pedal to the metal on us, when the Green Bay Packers were up 27-7, they put it to us because they were better than us. They were literally better than us. And they literally outscored us every single quarter. How do you explain that? How do you explain they outscore us every single quarter? You can't tell me that a whole team collapsed. I know that's the excuse we want to make for the Cowboys. Oh, we were better than them. We just collapsed. No, you didn't collapse. You didn't collapse. It's a hard pill to swallow. They were better than us. They were better than us, and especially on defense. Who y'all taking the Green Bay game and the Dallas game last year? Who y'all taking? So y'all going to tell me in the Green Bay game, somebody going to tell me they were taking safeties at linebacker over the Green Bay Packers defense that had a complete defense. That's what you're telling me. That's what you're telling me. Because if you're telling me that, I can understand that you're a homer, but you're not being real. Micah Parsons, 1 assist, 1 tackle, 0 sacks. This is basically what we were looking at last year. They killed us. They killed us. What are the brothers in the thing? He talked about it. They killed us in the trenches. They did. They killed us in the trenches. Jay Recruiter, I think, said it. They were better than us. They beat us in the trenches last year. I know we don't want to admit this, but that Green Bay team, I know we want to blame Dak Prescott. I'm sorry, that team was better than us. You can cry me a river if you want to. You can give me everything you want to. But the stats show they were better than us. The depth chart shows they were better than us. We're playing safety at linebacker. We only got 1 wide receiver. They were better than us. Michael Gallup, y'all don't find it to be strange? Michael Gallup was not the same when he came back from that knee injury. That's why he retired. He couldn't do it no more. He wasn't the same. He wasn't. And the stats will fool you in that game if you didn't watch it. That's why you got to look at the whole thing. When you look at the score and how bad it was, I mean, they were literally up 27-7 at the half. Reminds me of the 94 game with the Cowboys when Troy Aikman threw 3 interceptions. You get down 21-7, 28-7, it's hard to come back. Dak Prescott did something similar to Troy Aikman in that 94 game against the 49ers. Troy Aikman tried to make a ferocious comeback. Too little, too late, bro. You don't get to throw 3 interceptions and then come back. That team was better. It was. And this Green Bay team, even though they were 10-8, go back on your own, evaluate the roster. This is heartbreaking to us, isn't it, Cowboys fans? Not to me. They were better than us. And not just on that day. They were better than us as a team. If you tell me I got to go, you tell me I have to go into the playoffs with safeties at linebacker. I might not be able to tell you to your face, but I know what I'm going to tell my wife. I know what I'm going to tell my wife that night when I get into bed. My wife is going to ask me, what do you think about the game plan? I'm going to tell her straight up. We're going to get beat. And my wife's going to say, why you say that, George? Because we don't have any linebackers. And they have a devastating run game. Anybody notice what Aaron Jones is doing this year? Aaron Jones is not a fluke. Aaron Jones is still tearing it up on the Minnesota Vikings right now. Still tearing it up. Lone Star, you can't throw picks in the playoffs. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. That's a lie. I can prove you wrong every single time. You see, you just make statements. But yes, you can. You can throw interceptions in the playoffs. Let me see if I can pull this up. Patrick Mahomes threw an interception in the Super Bowl. You can't throw interceptions in the playoffs. He threw one in the Super Bowl. Now, a lot of people get on Jalen Hurts because he threw one in the Super Bowl in the second quarter, and they say he cost them the game. Well, Patrick Mahomes threw one. Why'd they still win? Because of his defense. Patrick Mahomes' defense was crazy last year. Absolutely crazy. Crazy last year. I do even one better. You said you can't have interceptions, though. Do you consider turnovers to be bad either way? Fumbles or interceptions? Can you feast your eyes on this? Kansas City had not only an interception, but they obviously had a fumble. Yes, you can. You can have interceptions in the playoffs. This is mythology. This is mythology. I'm sorry. You're going to have to do better. It's mythology. When you have a good team, you better believe you can throw interceptions. You can throw interceptions if you have a good team. Because a good team says, hey, we got you. We got you. Don't worry about it. It happens. I'm just telling you. I mean, I know we don't like this stuff, but I'm just telling you the truth, the facts. It's not made up stuff. You can throw interceptions and win games. It all depends on the team you're on. That's what it depends on. Now, you have to be careful. Now, it would be better said if it's the moments that you throw the interceptions. Dak threw those interceptions early. The Cowboys should have been able to bounce back from those, but they couldn't. Dak couldn't afford to throw any interceptions because the issue was their team was better. And to let their defense score touchdowns, it was going to be tough treading because we couldn't stop that. That day, we couldn't stop anybody. We couldn't stop anybody. They ran all over and through us. It had nothing to do with Dak Prescott. Their team was better than ours. You don't have to admit it because everything that shows you, the score, the stats, the box score, the analytics, the film, it all says and screams the same thing. Our record was better than Green Bay, but our team was not. Who you taking? Matt LaFleur? Who y'all taking? Y'all tell me who you taking. Y'all taking Matt LaFleur? Y'all taking Matt LaFleur or Mike McCarthy? Who you taking? Who you taking? See, I can break this down every single way you want to. Who you taking? Well, he gonna have to move. Long story, you gotta move. I never said the turnover battle wasn't huge, but you said you can't throw interceptions. Is that not what you said? You don't get to change. You don't get to change. Oh, I forgot. You do, because this is what everyone does when it comes to Dak Prescott. So go ahead and keep moving, because that's exactly what you're going to have to do. I'm going to do you one even better, because see, I know people continue to do this. I know people continue to do this, and it's crazy how people continue to do this. Lone Star says Purdy didn't throw picks and reason why we lost. I just think they had a better team. So you're saying the team you're telling me that team was better than the Kansas City Chiefs, because I'm going to tell you, you're not being truthful. Their team was not better than the Kansas City Chiefs. Their team was not better. They were not better. The best teams win. Jared, I'm taking Matt LaFleur all day, every day. I'm taking and these are the parts that people don't talk about. Even when you talk about the Super Bowl, I'm taking Andy Reid over Kyle Shanahan. As much as I love Kyle Shanahan, I'm taking Andy Reid all day long. All day long. Yeah, the 2022 season, Kitty boy. Yeah, I'm blaming Dak for that one. Dak had a very, and that's why I say, see, Lone Star is saying blanket statements. No, the interceptions, it all depends on when they happen. At what juncture do they happen? I mean, you mess around and throw one at a very key moment, it can be the end of the game. But when you start talking about somebody throwing interceptions in the first quarter, second quarter, a team should be able to overcome. Micah Parsons said it himself. I'm going to take the words right out of Micah Parsons' mouth. He said that the quarterback should be able to throw 2 interceptions and we still overcome it. I'm telling you, Jared, people don't understand. They say this stuff and then it is what it is. It's not, you can throw interceptions in the playoffs. You can throw them in the Super Bowl. You can. And teams have won with interceptions and fumbles. When you got a defense like Kansas City had last year. When you have a defense like Kansas City had last year, they beat them because they were better. They were better. The Kansas City Chiefs team was better. Andy Reid was a choke artist. Reid has a better quarterback than Kyle Shanahan, and he has a better team. The defense, real fan, the defense for Kansas City last year was insane, and it's insane again this year. It's insane again this year. It's been carrying that team. It's insane. Everybody right now is even saying, Patrick Mahomes. Why do you think everyone is talking about Patrick Mahomes having a bad year? How does Patrick Mahomes, and don't give me his bad year is still good years for the quarterbacks. No, actually, no. He's literally having a bad year. How is he still winning? His defense. Jenny said, I'm going to say good night. People trolling takes interest away. Yeah. Let's continue on. But without all the Dak Prescott arguments, because these are circular straw man arguments. This is why I say the quarterbacks in Dallas, I don't care who it is after Dak Prescott, they're all going to have the same problem. We got a fan base who's entitled. And if the quarterback doesn't win the Super Bowl in his first 4 seasons, they're done with him. And they're going to figure out every single reason to eat him alive. Every single reason they'll figure out. And this is what they do with this fan base. They eat quarterbacks alive. They eat the quarterback alive. They eat the coaches alive. But the real deal is simple. You can tell me anything you want to. We're not getting beat because of Dak Prescott. We're getting beat because teams are better than us. They are. They're better than us. It's the same reason why Nick Foles, that team that Nick Foles was on, beat the New England Patriots. You can tell me anything you want to. No, they were better. They were better than the New England Patriots. They had a better team. And that's the end of the story. Typically in this league, unless you meet 2 equally matched teams, typically in this league, the best team wins. Unless there is some crucial mistake. But this is why I say, and going back to the Cincinnati game, this is why I didn't buy, and I still don't buy the whole thing about the Amani guy. And everybody's saying it was his fault. This is what we do on this. This is what this fan base does. We're always looking for somebody to blame. But the reality is, he didn't lose the game. No, he didn't lose the game. He had a play that contributed to losing the game. What lost the game was our reluctance to run the ball. 18 carries for 131 yards. How do you get 131 yards on 18 carries? Rico Dowdle was literally about to have not only the game of his career, Rico Dowdle was about to have the game. I mean, he was probably about ready to have one of the best running games of the season. Could we imagine if Mike McCarthy would have just said, hey, man, you know what? They can't stop you. Let's just keep running. Let's just keep running the ball. Just keep running. Just keep running. And then when they stop it, then we can let Cooper Rush hit them with a pass with play action passes. But because we have a team that says because we have CD Lamb, we have to throw the ball. Knowing full well that knowing full well that CD Lamb is beat up and he can't do it by himself. And so that's why for me, again, this week, I really want to see. I have my evaluation hat on. And I'm telling all you Cowboys fans, put your evaluation hat on. Don't fall away because the playoffs are over. No, what we're watching right now, this is one of the best things that we could be watching. We're about to see what this team is made of. And I think this is going to be a great evaluation process for Jerry Jones because, as I said in the beginning, this is one of the very reasons to me why Jerry Jones' comments are very telling about Mike McCarthy. I really want to see what they're going to do at the end because they're definitely holding us in suspense because the question that they asked is perfect. Well, if you're saying all the things you keep saying about Mike McCarthy, why haven't you extended him? What are they waiting on? Another win? Because I'll be honest with you, the Cowboys might not get another win. Cowboys may not get another win. Because I think that the next few games, this Carolina Panther game, if the Cowboys don't go get this Panthers game, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, especially with the fact that these other teams, they're now in a playoff run. So Tampa Bay, they're trying to hold on to that seed that they have, which I think they pretty much have it, but they still want to keep winning so they can solidify it. The Commanders have got to stay ahead of the Rams. And the Philadelphia Eagles, I believe, I think the Philadelphia Eagles have a great chance of getting the number one seed. I do. I think the Eagles have a great chance of getting the number one seed because I think their schedule plays out easier than the Lions. And because this week we have what? The Lions this week, they have a very good game coming up. Very interested to watch this. The Lions are playing the Buffalo Bills. The Lions are playing the Buffalo Bills. This could be a loss for the Buffalo Bills. For the Lions, But at the same time, boy, these schedule makers, I'm sure they didn't know they were going to do this, but I find it to be ironic that the Eagles' Week 15 game is against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we're looking at a week to where both of these teams could lose. But I also think the problem for the Detroit Lions in this NFC North is the fact that the Vikings are playing the Chicago Bears and they're 11-2. And unless the Chicago Bears do something that is absolutely unheard of or amazing, I got a strange feeling that the Vikings are going to trounce the Chicago Bears. I do. Yeah, the real Daryl, I do think too. I do think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to represent the NFC as the number one seed because I think the Lions, because of how they arrange these divisional games at the end, the Lions NFC North division is an absolute juggernaut. Cowboys ain't got nothing to worry about. The Cowboys. The Eagles actually have nothing to worry about. The Eagles have nothing to worry about. When you look at their last few games, minus the Pittsburgh game, I just don't think they have anything to worry about. I don't. And I think the Eagles, minus the Pittsburgh game, I think the Eagles pretty much have it made. But you know, it's kind of crazy when you think about this. Jay Recruiter says the Vikings are fraudulent. You know what? I'm still not sold on Sam Darnold. But at this point in time, I mean, they're 11-2, Jay Recruiter. But I do think, I don't know where you are, but I do think right now the best two teams are the Lions and the Eagles. And I'm not going to trip, though. I think the Seahawks have, the last few weeks, have been playing extremely well. Extremely well. Problem is, they're coming up on the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay. That is going to be a tough out. So we could literally be watching all these AFC teams lose. All these NFC teams. All of these NFC teams could be losing except for the Vikings. I mean, all of the ones in the top spots. The Lions, the Eagles. But I'm telling you, if the Eagles win, they're telling me everything I need to know. Cowboys can beat the Eagles if Rush has the game of his life. Jay Recruiter, I think they could beat the Eagles if they just run the doggone ball. I think you got to take the game out of Cooper Rush's hands. Just run the ball. And be very selective and give him about 20 throws. They keep giving him 30 and 35. Don't give him 35. Set the threshold for 25. Cooper Rush, you're throwing the ball no more than 25 times. Period. 25 times. Rico Dowdle, can you handle 25? Can you handle 25, Rico? And they did let Ezekiel Elliott run the last game. So the way I see it, why not let him, I don't know, let him run or. But Jay Recruiter, I think the way they're going to win the game, I think the way the Cowboys win the game is if they didn't learn anything from last week, run the doggone ball, man. I've been saying this for weeks. But run the doggone ball. Run the ball. That's all they have to do. If they run the ball, they'll win. If they run the ball, they will win. Let me show y'all something, too, that I ran up on. And I thought it was very interesting. I ran across something the other day on the internet. And this has really got me thinking. Just like Bill Belichick, I think, is going to eventually come to the pros. Come back to the pros probably sooner than later.
Now I just need you to do one thing.
I'm going to show y'all something about what Deion Sanders said at some kind of banquet or something. I think that if Deion goes pro, I think that it is going to be with the Las Vegas Raiders. Because the Cowboys couldn't offer him what he wanted. But I want you to hear something he says to Antonio Pierce, and y'all tell me what you think about this. Because I always say what a man says in jest, he means for real. Got to be careful sometimes when you're saying stuff in jest. This is Deion Sanders. Listen to this.
Now I just need you to do one thing. I need you to draft those Sanders boys next year. Whoa. This is your style. This is your house. Now I just need.
I found it to be kind of ironic. Because Antonio Pierce is kind of chopping it up with Deion, but the Raiders mess around and get Shedeur Sanders, which I think there's a great chance they're going to get him. They mess around and get Shedeur Sanders. They mess around and get Shedeur Sanders in a couple of years. It wouldn't shock me if Deion came to the Vegas Raiders. It wouldn't shock me. This is crazy when you look at it. Look at their drafts. Look at where the Raiders found themselves at right now. Y'all can book it. The Raiders won't win another game. The Las Vegas Raiders will not win another game. I promise you. They will not win another game. They're going to wind up with Shedeur Sanders. I think the Cowboys may wind up with Shiloh. But you know what? I think the thing that's going to stop the Cowboys from getting Shiloh, though, is, if I'm not mistaken, they're saying that Shiloh is like a mid to late third, maybe a fourth. The Cowboys don't have a fourth-round pick. So unless he's there in the fifth, they're not going to pick him up. But it is not going to shock me if the Las Vegas, and I know what they're going to do. The Las Vegas Raiders are probably going to get Shedeur Sanders. He'll be the first player taken in the draft. And I could easily see Deion Sanders in 2 years going to the Las Vegas Raiders and reunite with Shedeur. I could easily see it. And Vegas easily fits Deion Sanders. And I also think this week the Cowboys, I really have to see the mental state of the Cowboys right now. I am very concerned about the mental state of the Cowboys. I'm concerned about the mental state of the Cowboys because of Demarion Overshown. I'm concerned about the mental state of the Dallas Cowboys because it seems to me that they really believed they were going to win this. For whatever reason, it seemed like they believed that they were going to the playoffs. They believed they were going to the playoffs. And I still do not understand why we thought we were going to the playoffs. I'm just bewildered by that whole sentiment. All right, I'm putting together my score. Putting together my score for the week. Y'all tell me what you think the score is going to be. Give y'all my prediction for the week. You know I give 3 predictions. 3 predictions. And I was looking also, the last time the Cowboys played the Carolina Panthers, they mauled them. They really did. They mauled the Carolina Panthers last time they played them. I think it was something like 33-14. It was bad. It was really, really bad. And so, of course, that's when we were kind of like fully healthy and all of those things. But yeah, the Cowboys, man, there we go. The Cowboys put a beating on them. But y'all tell me what your scores. What are your scores? What are you thinking this week? I'll tell you what I believe the score is going to be. I think the Cowboys have a very good chance of winning this game. Very good chance of winning this game. I say if the Cowboys do what they did against the Cincinnati Bengals, I believe the Carolina Panthers are going to beat the Dallas Cowboys. If they do the same thing they did against the Cincinnati Bengals. If they roll up in this game and only run Rico Dowdle 18 times, I don't care if he get 200 yards. If the Cowboys do not run the ball 35 times between Rico Dowdle and whoever they're going to run with, I believe the score is going to favor the Panthers. I think the Panthers are going to win 27-24. The Cowboys have got to win, have got to run the ball. They have got to run the ball. But if the Cowboys do run the ball, I believe they're going to win the game 27-17. I believe the Cowboys win the game 27-17. I think they'll win. I think they will win by 10. I really do. Yeah, I think they will win by 10. Y'all tell me what you think. But that is exactly what I believe. I believe the Cowboys pull this game off if they run the ball 30 to 35 times. I think they're going to win 27-17. The Carolina Panthers, though, I think the Panthers are kind of dangerous because it seems like they have something to prove. And now that a lot of these teams, if you'll notice, now that the Carolina Panthers are no longer in the top, they're no longer in the top. They don't have that. They're at number 4 now. So you kind of in the spot where if you can kind of stay at about 4 wins, you're still going to be in the top 10. And the Carolina Panthers, they basically already have their quarterback, so I don't think they're trying to get a quarterback. I don't think they're trying to do anything like that. So I think they're going to be absolutely fine if they win. But if they don't win, they move up. But the Cowboys will continue, I think, to stay at the number 12 spot. But I do think the Cowboys are going to win. Mem 10, you said Kadarius Toney. Wide receiver, wow. Wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's not from the Dallas area, is he? Let me see. Lewis, what's going on? Lewis said the Cowboys are going to only win 2 more games against the Carolina Panthers and the Redskins. I think they may beat the Panthers, but Lewis, tell me what you think. If the Commanders have to beat the Cowboys to get that seed, I think they're going to play the Cowboys a lot harder than they did the first time. And without DeMarion Overshown, I think that's going to be a huge issue. And it will be a divisional game. So I'll be surprised if they sweep the Redskins as good as the Redskins. And I say that very lightly, with them being better, with them being a little bit better, I think, than the Cowboys right now. I think they're better than the Cowboys right now. Yeah, I think they're playing a little bit better than the Cowboys right now. So, but hey, Lewis, I think this Panthers game tomorrow, I think this Panthers game on Sunday is going to be great. I really do. I think the Panthers game is going to be great. I think it's going to be another great matchup. Like I said, I'm looking at games differently right now. I'm not looking at games the same way other people are. I'm not really worried about the Cowboys winning as much as I'm watching for their mentality. Because I think one of the things that holds this team back is their mentality, how they view wins and losses. How do they bounce back? How do they recover? So I'm very interested to see how do they look after this game. Because, man, this was a devastating loss. Devastating loss for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, I don't understand it, but I guess I do understand it because for whatever reason, I guess they had convinced themselves they were going to the playoffs. I don't understand that part. Me, I would have kept it more one game at a time if I'm the Cowboys so that I stay focused, because you start focusing on a bigger picture. This is when you have mental breakdowns when you lose a game like this. And the thing that's very concerning with me for the Cowboys is I'm very concerned about them as a team also. As a team. Because it seems to me they're not cohesive as a team. And I'm really concerned when I hear stuff about Micah Parsons and how it seems like he's trying to self-appoint himself as the leader of the team. I don't like that kind of talk, especially when I'm seeing his actions. His actions are not becoming of a leader. And I keep hearing people saying stuff like he's growing. I mean, I don't understand why we're saying stuff like this, but hey, okay. But again, I think this Carolina Panthers game is going to be a very, very good game. This is going to be a very good game for the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, I think it's going to be a very good game for the Dallas Cowboys. I want to see if I can pull up some stuff on Bryce Young. Bryce Young has been playing pretty good since they benched him, and now he's back. I mean, he's been playing like a whole new quarterback. Let me see if I can pull up some of his stats here. Who y'all taking, Bryce Young or Cooper Rush? Bryce Young or Cooper Rush? Let me see if I can pull up something on him, Bryce Young. Yeah, but like I said, Bryce Young has looked extremely good against, and he's looked extremely good the last 4 games. And so I think the Cowboys are going to have a problem with him because he kind of runs a little bit too. So these are his last 4 games. Now he did play a tough Eagles team, so I'm not gonna hate on him too much for this. His last win was against the New York Giants. He was 15-25 for 126. In a losing effort to the Chiefs, they took the Chiefs to 30-27. He was 21 of 35, 263, 1 touchdown. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 26-23, 26 of 46, 298, 1 touchdown. He's kind of got about a completion ratio as Cooper Rush. He's around 60% and actually less in the last 4 games. And then they lost to Philly. He was 19 of 34 for 191. They have had a tough stretch. When you think about KC, Tampa Bay, Philadelphia, all back to back, that's crazy. That's a crazy stretch. I do think he's a problem in the run game, though, because you see 7 for 29, 3 for 17, 3 for 22 for 30. He's a problem in the run game. He is definitely a problem in the run game. He's only had 1 turnover the last 4 games. So Cowboys are going to have their hands full with Bryce Young. He's not going to be a walk in the park for him. That is faux show. He is not going to be a walk in the park. I haven't heard much about their running back. I haven't heard a lot about the running back. But their run game doesn't seem to be all that good. So I can't see it being as good as what the Cowboys have been doing. Let's see if we can see their run. Just trying to see their run game the last 4 games. Okay, I'm not familiar with this guy right here. Is it Chuba Hubbard? Cuba Hubbard, maybe? Cuba Hubbard has 1,011 yards. He's played 13 games. He gets about 16, 17 carries per game. He's averaging 4.7. Okay. which I'm feeling pretty good about. I'm actually feeling pretty good about Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer has done a fabulous job over the last few weeks. He seems to keep stopping some of these really good running backs. What's letting him down is the secondary. They continue to let him down. I don't even know if they're letting him down. I mean, they're just getting beat. I mean, there's probably nothing else you can say about it. They're just getting beat. Lewis said they are better this year, but this is the division game against our greatest rival. You're talking about the Commanders. That benching did Bryce good. Boy, didn't it, Recruiter? Man, he's looked totally different since that. Yeah, I'm happy for him, too. It's good to see him coming back. Kevin said Will Greer. Hey, man, they're not going to let Will Greer play, but they should. There's a lot of talk around this whole Trey Lance thing. Everyone's wanting to see Trey Lance. Yeah, I'm taking Bryce Young. The goalpost continues to move against Dak. Oh, that's always. Cowboys all day, but Carolina doesn't have a Burrow nor a Chase. And see, that was the difference for me. That was the difference for me last week, Tony. And Tony, isn't it crazy? I think the Bengals were 6.5 points favorites, and they wound up winning by 7. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Tony said Mike Zimmer know how to defend a mobile quarterback, and Cuba Hubbard is a serviceable running back. Yeah, I think he's been running pretty good. I mean, he hadn't been killing it, but he's been running pretty good. Whoa. You said Brock Purdy got his extension? Wow. Let's see what it is. Let's see if it's bigger than Dak's. Okay, I don't see anything yet. Looks like they're saying they plan on doing it in the off season. You know what? I'm going to tell you, man, there's some crazy talk coming out of San Francisco. And I hope this doesn't happen. But there is some crazy talk coming out of San Francisco that they may be cutting ways with Kyle Shanahan. And I think that would be one of the craziest things they could do. Man, that would be the craziest thing they could do. Looks like they're talking about, looks like they're saying Brock Purdy, they hadn't signed him yet, but they're talking about 50. He won't eclipse. They're saying he's not going to eclipse Dak Prescott. They're saying he's probably going to be in the 50 to 55 million range. And kind of what they're talking about and what has happened to Brock Purdy is with the injuries that they've had, he hasn't looked the same in those injuries. Brock Purdy has thrown passes in 42 games in his career, including playoffs, first 24 games. Wow, look at this. First 24 games, 45 touchdown passes, 11 INTs, 68.6 completions, 114.9 quarterback rating. Past 18 games, 20 touchdowns? Wow. 14 interceptions, 64.4% completions, 91 quarterback rating. Yeah, it's going to be kind of hard to eclipse Dak Prescott with those numbers right there, and especially when you've had better teams. Brock Purdy has had super teams. Point blank in the story. Brock Purdy has literally had super teams around him. And I think this is one of Kyle Shanahan's frustrations with Brock Purdy, because he knows the teams he's had around him. He knows the teams they had around him. But the problem is, it's like I said before, you can have all the teams you want to. You can have a good team around Brock Purdy, which they've had super teams around him. The problem is they haven't been better than the team they went up against in the Super Bowl. That's the problem. That's the problem with Brock Purdy. I mean, the teams have just been better. He's had great weapons. They've had great teams, great players around him. But at the end of the day, like I said, the teams are better. Because, let's see, they went, they went last year. And this is one of the reasons why you know, with Purdy, let's look at the because if it's me, this is actually the conversation that I'm actually having with Brock Purdy. When I sit down with Brock Purdy, I mean, you really got to have a serious conversation. I want you to think about this. And barring the injuries, I want you to look at what Brock Purdy has been playing with. Brock Purdy has been playing with Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuels, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. Their fullback is really good. They got Trent Williams on the O-line. At any given time, he's played with this. And this is why I'll challenge people even on this. Tell me the team that Dak Prescott has been on the last 3 years. The last 3 years. Tell me the team that Dak Prescott has been on that's better than this. I'm not going to hold my breath because you can't tell me. You can go down the line, and this is why you can't, Brock Purdy, I can see why they're saying that $50 million range because, okay, he's not better than Dak, not taking him over Dak. But tell me the running back that Dak Prescott has played with better than Christian McCaffrey. Tell me the running back. Tell me the running back that Dak Prescott has played with better than Christian McCaffrey. And while you can tell me that the wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb, is better than Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk, but I question you on this. Who you got? Do you have CeeDee Lamb by himself, or do you have Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk? I'll take Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk any day over CeeDee Lamb by himself. Every single day. I'm taking Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk as a pair over CeeDee Lamb. The Cowboys need to get a counterpart for CeeDee Lamb. Deebo Samuel is probably going to be on the open market this year. I wonder what the Cowboys think about getting him. And even when you think about their other wide receivers, they've done really well in the draft. With wide receivers. Pearsall and Jennings are really good. The Garando kid is really good. They got him with the 4th round pick they got from the Cowboys. Y'all tell me, name the tight end that Dak Prescott has played with in the last 4 years that's better than George Kittle. Because I'm going to tell you, you're making up stuff. George Kittle is a top 5 tight end in this league. We don't have a tight end close to George Kittle. Dak hasn't had a tight end close to George Kittle. Close. Brock Purdy, y'all, people don't realize it. Kyle Juszczyk is really good. Trent Williams at left tackle has been really good. His old line is good. Kevin Edwards. Now, you talking about prime Jason Witten. Jason Witten wasn't prime Jason Witten playing with Dak Prescott. Jason Witten was prime Jason Witten playing with Tony Romo, but I don't believe he was prime Jason Witten playing with Jason Witten. But you know what? I'll give you that. So let's say you take Jason Witten. I'll give you Jason Witten, right? But which one of these lineups, minus Brock Purdy, which one you taking? I'm taking Brock Purdy's lineup over Dak Prescott's. I'll take what Brock Purdy has. I'll take what Brock Purdy has been playing with the last few years. I'll take that over anything Dak's played with. Anything. This team that Purdy has been playing with, and I'm not going to knock Purdy because he's made some good throws, but those stats are telling you something. There's been some injuries, and he hasn't looked the same when he doesn't have his players, but he needs players just like anyone else. But he's got a really good team. Not just on offense. Look at his defense. Y'all tell me the defense that Dak Prescott has had is better than the defense that Brock Purdy's been playing with. Tell me. I'm not going to hold my breath. Yeah, Tony, I'm taking Kittle. But Kevin is entitled to his opinion. I can understand why you're saying Jason Witten. But defensively even, this is what Purdy has been playing with. Purdy has been playing with super players on the other side of the ball. Tell me who Dak Prescott, tell me the defense that Dak has played with that's this crazy. Because I'm going to tell you, the weakness for the Cowboys, especially in the last 4 years, the Cowboys have had a linebacker problem. Cowboys have had a linebacker problem. It was a problem the moment they got Dan Quinn, and they never fixed it. They've never fixed the linebacker problem here. It's been a revolving door of injuries and, injuries, chances, all kinds of things. He ain't played with this. Leonard Floyd, Malik Collins, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Devondre Campbell, Kavarius Ward. I mean, when you look at what Brock Purdy has been playing with, it's crazy work. It's crazy work. I mean, you could literally make an argument if you sat down with Brock Purdy and say, hey, man, we're not paying you no Dak Prescott money. Because he has an owner who says he has to do more with less, which is exactly what Jerry Jones has been doing for the last few years. Brock Purdy can't make that argument. They've been giving Brock Purdy everything, including who y'all got? Kyle Shanahan or Mike McCarthy? I'm taking Kyle Shanahan all day long. The 49ers have a better team. They have a better team. This is why I keep saying they have a better team. They have a better team than the Dallas Cowboys. And they have had a better team than even the Philadelphia Eagles. They've had better teams. This is why they've had so much success. And this is what is frustrating Kyle Shanahan, because Kyle Shanahan feels he has had the best teams in the NFC, but they can't win. They can't win. And this is what is frustrating him. Jerry still loves Dalton. With my block, Schultz was a big loss. That's why he drafted Schoon. Yep. You know what? Schoon looked pretty good in the last few games. I need to see more, though. Dak Prescott has record-breaking defenses, negative records. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right. Because they'll do things in positions, and that's what's always mind-blowing about this Cowboys defense. They'll do things in position. I see exactly what you're saying, Kevin. But the results aren't there. And that's why I think when you look at the San Francisco 49ers, they have a better unit. They have a better defensive team. We'll have players that'll be better than other teams' players, but we won't have defensive units and offensive units better than other teams' defensive and offensive units. Because that's why I say the moment you start putting all these things side by side, the picture starts to develop a lot more clear for you, like an old Polaroid. Once you pull up the personnel, once you pull up the coaches, once you pull up all that, you start realizing that, okay, we've had some players, we haven't had teams. We haven't had teams. That's why I always laugh, because you'll always hear people talk about players. I'm not concerned with players. I'm concerned with teams. That's why I say Troy Aikman, even as it compared to Roger Staubach. Troy Aikman had the best team in Dallas Cowboy history. The best team. Roger Staubach would have ate with that team. Roger Staubach would have amassed. There wouldn't have been a year Roger Staubach wouldn't have won a Super Bowl with the team Troy Aikman played with. There has never, even to this day, it is arguably the best offensive line to have ever been constructed. The best offensive line. And Jay Recruiter has been hitting on something. When you can win in the trenches, I keep saying it, two things that travel well in the playoffs: defenses and run games, because that's the trenches. If you can beat teams in the trenches, they can be as fancy as they want to be. You can beat them because you control the line of scrimmage. And if you can control the line of scrimmage, you can control a game and you can control a team. Same thing happened to the Cowboys last year. The Green Bay Packers were better in the trenches. Y'all want Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb to come out here and throw a party. Green Bay said, we're not the one. We're not going to let you two throw a party. We're going to double, triple CeeDee Lamb. Dak, you're going to have to beat us with another one of these receivers that you actually have not been throwing to the whole year. So now you're going to have to get chemistry with some guys who you only have chemistry with one. And on top of that, Dak, we're going to do you one even better. They were all over Dak Prescott. The rush game was all over Dak Prescott. Number two, we're going to run the ball on you. There's nothing you can do. We're going to run you off the field because we know you can't stop the run. You don't have linebackers. Once we get past the first level, we're hitting safeties and DBs. We'll take that because you don't have the DBs and the safeties that can probably tackle Aaron Jones. We'll talk about players. We don't talk about teams. Aikman had teams. Purdy, and this is Kyle Shanahan's frustration. John Lynch has literally, him and Kyle Shanahan, they have gotten Brock Purdy everything he needs. Lewis Bailey, we've had a linebacker problem. How long? Think about it. How long have we had it? At least the last 4 or 5 years. And this team always wants our quarterback to make up for every deficiency. We got to outscore every team. We got to be perfect. We got to do everything right in order for the defense that has really been a big part of the failure also in the Dak Prescott era. Because the last 4 years, I mean, you think about it. Who's been the linebackers the last 4 years? Who have they been? It's been a revolving door. Who are they? Tell me. Who can you tell me? Look at this defense on the 49ers. This thing is crazy, man. Because I'm telling y'all, I know y'all probably big Michael Parsons fans. I'm taking Nick Bosa over Michael Parsons. I love the Dallas Cowboys. I'm taking Nick Bosa over Michael Parsons. Nick Bosa is a monster. I'm taking Nick Bosa. And I can't think right now, I can't think of a linebacker. I mean, Fred Warner, what linebacker in the last few years? I can't even think of a linebacker that we've had in the last few years that I would even put in the same category with Fred Warner. We've taken some chances on some, but I don't think we've had anybody better than Fred Warner. Now, I do think Sean Lee, did Sean Lee play with Dak? I thought Sean Lee played with Dak Prescott. Problem with Sean Lee, he couldn't stay healthy, though. Like I said, Sean Lee, first ballot Hall of Famer if he can stay healthy. First ballot Hall of Famer. Yeah, he played 2010 to 2020. So Sean Lee would be the only linebacker that I could even think of that could even be in this discussion. But he couldn't stay healthy. All right, Tony, appreciate you. I'll be back tomorrow. Alchemy said, totally agree. Should have kept Mike at outside linebacker. Him on the line will get his back jacked up. Yep. Battling beast to weigh 100 plus more pounds. That's crazy work. They really got to do something about Micah, because Micah, it's going to eventually start to put a lot of wear and tear in his body. They have really got to do something. San Francisco's had the better team in each Super Bowl they played in. Nah, I don't think they were better than the. I don't think they were better than the Chiefs. I mean, you see, they played the Chiefs both times. They played the Chiefs both times. Right now, I think boy. Troy, I can't go with you on this one. That's man. That's hard work right there, bro. Especially when you think about some of the players that the 49ers had on those teams. Boy, he's had some players, man. Patrick Mahomes has had some players on those teams, man. Teams. I mean, he's had some players on those teams. He has. I'm worried about him this year, though. I'm worried about Patrick Mahomes this year because I think because Patrick Mahomes had a bad down year, and we'll see what he does as the season continues on. But, man, I'm telling you, boy, Buffalo and Pittsburgh, and I'm going to tell you the team that people need to be fearing. I'm telling you, man, those doggone Denver Broncos. Man, Denver is – their defense is crazy. Their defense is absolutely crazy. And they're one of them type of teams that you mess around and catch them on the wrong day, and they put it all together on a certain day, man. But I think they're going to have a problem. I do think the Denver Broncos, they're going to have a problem with a team like Josh Allen because Josh Allen is such a monster at running the ball. This may be the year. I think they're trying to play this up, and we'll see what happens in these storylines. But it seems like to me they're trying to play this up to where it's going to be maybe the Detroit Lions or the Philadelphia Eagles. But I think people would actually rather see the Detroit Lions. I think people would actually rather see the Detroit Lions and the Buffalo Bills. I think people are interested in seeing something they hadn't seen before. I think people are bored. What's going on, Robert? I think that people are bored with seeing the same old teams. Oh yeah, Jared, straight up. Hey man, he's had some crazy teams. Kind of made his match though with the Chiefs. Let the media tell it. Mahomes always lifts his average teams over the better teams. Now, Mahomes has had some teams too. He's had some teams too, and that's one of the very reasons why they were able to beat the 49ers. Because even when you think about the 49ers, kind of what betrayed them in the one Super Bowl was an overthrow by Jimmy Garoppolo. That was a little heartbreaking for him. And then last year, I mean, man, the defense for Kansas City, man, was just good, man. Gosh. Purdy has played with some defenses, y'all. I'm telling you. Dak ain't had no defenses like Purdy. Purdy has had some defenses. And that is one of the reasons why you can literally go to Brock Purdy and say, nah, we're not paying you that kind of money. We're not paying you that kind of money because Dak Prescott, and you could literally make this argument. Purdy, Dak Prescott hasn't had the teams you've had. He's being told to do more with less. We've never told you to do more with less. We brought in Christian McCaffrey for you. So we got Brandon Ayuk. I mean, they could literally tell Purdy, hey, this is it. We're not doing that. The lies people feel like if Dak Prescott is that guy, he can elevate his worst teams over better teams. Well, the lie is, Jared, is that no one else is asking their quarterbacks to hardly do that stuff. A lot of teams are realizing that's mythology. That is literal mythology. To ask your quarterback to be Tom Brady is crazy. To ask your quarterback to be Patrick Mahomes, that's crazy. There's only a few of those. So the best thing you can do with your quarterback is do what every one of these playoff teams have done, they have all done the same thing. All you have to do, go to the depth chart. Lions, sign Jared Goff, super team, check. Eagles, sign Jalen Hurts. Do y'all know, in case you hadn't noticed it, Jalen Hurts has a super team with Saquon Barkley? Check. Seahawks, no super team. Buccaneers, no super team. Y'all know who else got a super team? The Vikings. The Vikings have a super team. They do. They have a super team. They put a super team around Sam Darnold, which it wasn't meant for him, but they have a super team around Sam Darnold. Jordan Love, while he doesn't have a super team, he has a good team. They keep putting pieces around him. And I guarantee you, they're going to go and they're going to put more more players around him. They're going to continue to put more players around him because that's what people are doing with their quarterbacks. Jared, we're the only ones that do this dumb stuff. We're the only ones, we gave you this player right here, that means you ought to be able to overcome. That doesn't make up for the fact you don't have linebackers. That doesn't make up for the fact you don't have safeties. That don't make up for those issues. That doesn't make up for the fact that you don't have any wide receivers. That don't make up for that. No, these teams are brilliant. These top teams are brilliant. We know what Jared Goff is. Put players around him. Jalen Hurts, we know what he is. Put players around him. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. You look at the other side, the Chiefs. One of the best things they did for Patrick Mahomes was give him a run game and a defense. They took a lot of burden off of Patrick Mahomes. He's already got one of the best coaches defensively, Steve Spagnuolo. He's got Andy Reid as his head coach. And I didn't realize it, but they also have an offensive coordinator, but he's still under the tutelage. So when you start thinking about all that stuff, they have a great team around Patrick Mahomes. The Buffalo Bills, they have a great team. But you don't realize, though, you realize something about these two teams. What makes these two teams, and I will say they're similar to the Eagles. The Chiefs and the Bills are similar to the Eagles. They're constructed similarly because both of their quarterbacks are a part of the run game. Patrick Mahomes is a part of the run game. Josh Allen is definitely a part of the run game, and they still got a run game. And then that's why when you get down here, the Steelers have a very good defense. Russell Wilson has shown up as of late, but I think the playoffs are going to be very revealing. And the Ravens thought they were building a super team, but I'm worried at how Derrick Henry has looked down the stretch. So when you think about on both sides of this, we're going to be looking at it coming down between the Chiefs, the Bills, the Steelers, and the Ravens. And on this side, NFC, it's going to come down to the Lions, the Eagles, and the Vikings, which I think the reality is it's probably coming down to these two teams. And I think the storyline would be perfect if it's the Bills and the Lions. You get a couple teams that haven't been. And even though the Bills have been, they lost 4 straight Super Bowls. And it seems like they're trying to make Josh Allen the face of the NFL. So I think that would be a great little thing right there. Jerry used to do this for his team. I believe that the problem is Stephen Jones. Yeah, Stephen Jones talking kind of crazy right now. Because Stephen Jones said expect more of the same next season. When everybody already knows the Cowboys can easily have $100 million in cap space next year. So why would we expect more of the same? Why can't you go out and get some players? I don't believe Stephen Jones, though, Lewis. I think what Stephen Jones is trying to do is trying to play the hero. I think he's going to say they're not going to do nothing. Then when they do something, the real Daryl, people that were hyping up Purdy or looking at Purdy differently once the pieces around started getting hurt. Exactly. 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 And that's why I say, the real Daryl, see, I can really come at Brock Purdy very hard in the negotiation because I can tell him what he's had around him. I can literally tell him what he's had around him, and he hasn't produced. Freddie, what's going on, man? It's going to be KC or Buffalo in the Super Bowl versus Detroit. Freddie, you better not count out. You better not count out them Eagles. Yeah, Jay. Yeah, they hate Dak. But you know what, Jared? Joy Taylor said herself. Joy Taylor said, if Dak Prescott played for any other team, she said we'd be singing his praises. She did. Now, the part I don't understand is she saying that. And the Cowboys haven't won anything since 1995, the 95-96 Super Bowl season. So why are we saying this as if we've been doing something for the past 28 years? But this is the problem with this team. They say because of stars on the side of the helmet and all this old crazy stuff. That just doesn't make sense. I don't care if it's the Dallas Cowboys or the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't care who your quarterback is. I guess I care, but I'm just saying. You have to put players around your quarterback. There's just no other way to get around it. And that's why I don't find it to be strange. And you're going to see these teams. Y'all might not realize it. The NFL is in a renaissance right now. The NFL is in a renaissance. The NFL is going back to the running game. The NFL is going back to the running game. There is going to be value in running backs going forward. And you watch what I tell you in this draft. A lot of these teams are going to go get running backs. It's loaded. It's loaded with running backs. And there are going to be teams. They are going to load up. I guarantee you, there'll be so many teams loading up on those running backs. Probably once they get to the late second, third, fourth round, watch how many running backs start flying off the board. They're going to be flying off the board. Because everyone realizes, I mean, if you can win in the trenches, two things, I keep saying it, travel well in the playoffs. Run game, defense. If you can run the ball and stop the run, you can win in this league. And you can win a lot in this league. And you can actually go to the Super Bowl in this league if you're willing to do things like that. And so Dak Prescott may be the last $60 million quarterback because I think they're working on a salary cap for these quarterbacks. And I will not be surprised if they start it, if not next year, they'll start it in the year after. Yeah, she does, doesn't she, Freddie? She sounds like a jilted woman when she talks about Dak. Boy, you'd think she tried to date him and he turned her down. Jerry said, coming into this season, if you asked who was better between Purdy and Dak Prescott, the question would have been considered blasphemy to media members at the 3 and 4 letters. Yep. They ain't talking that noise now, though. They're not talking that noise now. And this is why I say, Jared, for me, that's why these players have to stay out of the media. Because if they build you, they can break you. Don't let them build you. Always let your play stand for itself. Because they'll build you up to tear you down. Give me Genty or the running back from, North Carolina and Abdul. Woo, man. Boy, you better say it. You better say it, Freddie. They mess around and get this kid from North Carolina. Genty might not be possible, but they get this kid from North Carolina or even the guys from Ohio State. But I'm telling you, Abdul Carter, I'll be honest with y'all. I don't think Overshown is going to be an injury casualty. I think he'll eventually get it together. But I do think the Cowboys need to start working on replacing him. I think they need to start working on replacing him. And I also think they need to consider, and it'll be interesting to see what they do when he comes back, I think they should consider making him the next Darren Woodson. Had Jerry let Dak get the free agency, could you imagine the spectacle that would have ensued? Man, yes. The bandwagon would have ensued. See, I told you. Oh, yeah. Because, man, let me tell you something. I guarantee y'all Kyle Shanahan would take Dak Prescott over Brock Purdy. I guarantee you he'd take him over Brock Purdy. Mike Tomlin would take Dak Prescott over both of the quarterbacks he has now. Dak would have had options. The Raiders. They would have got Dak. And they would have used that draft pick for Shedeur Sanders and parlayed that probably into 2 or 3 draft picks. Schefter and Ian Rappaport both said there were multiple teams that were ready for Dak to hit the free agency market. Oh, it'd have been a frenzy. Yeah, it'd have been a frenzy had he hit that open market. The Dak Prescott hate George because Shady McCoy, he got her on heavy hate mode. Man, I think it seemed like to me they're dating or something. Yeah, it seemed like they're dating or something like that. But yeah. Who y'all got? I've already told y'all. I think the Cowboys can pull this game off if they will run the ball. Because I don't think you can get them to score more than 20 points with Cooper Rush. He'll get you 2 touchdowns. That's about it. They'll have to score 1 defensively or special teams. Maybe they run it in, especially if they run the ball. But I'm taking the Dallas Cowboys 27-17 in this game if and only if they run the ball. If they don't run the ball, I will not be surprised the Cowboys lose again in some disappointing fashion. Something like 27-24, 24-21. I will not be surprised if the Cowboys lose again. I think Jerry Jones is really looking, and he can say anything he wants to say, but I think Jerry Jones is really keeping an eye on Mike McCarthy. I really do think he's keeping an eye on Mike McCarthy, and I think he's going to talk about all this stuff with Mike McCarthy when and if it comes down to his contract. And I think the dominoes are dropping for the Dallas Cowboys. I think they might ought to consider Mike Vrabel if they really want to change. But if the Cowboys don't want to change, they might as well bring back Mike McCarthy. Might as well bring back Mike McCarthy. That's my score, guys. 27-17 if the Cowboys run the ball. That's going to do it for me. That'll be my time. I'll see y'all tomorrow at around 5 o'clock. Make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe, notification bell. So you know the next time post another video or go live. Let's talk Cowboys. We talk facts. Peace.